We take a look at our most recent snowfall, which was much heavier to the north this time. It's gonna be a little colder behind that system. Sub-zero for northern Minnesota tonight, milder already for the weekend, and we're talking about another system, maybe more rain and snow Sunday into Monday. But first, it is meteorological spring. Despite what it looks like outside, yeah, winter is in the books. We keep adding up the snowfall, but temperature-wise, it was 0.4 degrees above normal. Doesn't sound like much, but remember, that's using the modern average. We're much warmer than the historic average by quite a bit. That puts us in the top 25% of warmest winters. But if you were born after 1990, this feels somewhat normal to you. And so our whole perception has changed from what a normal winter should be temperature-wise. But it was a very snowy, very wet winter. Anywhere from 48 to 72 inches. That's this red swath across much of Minnesota, which is very unusual to have that much snow that widespread. We're at the 6th snowiest winter season to date. We'll see if we can move up in the rankings, or maybe we fall behind if we can't keep up the snowiness through March and April. But I've got much more. I wrote up a whole winter report card that you can check out if you're really into more of the stats. But as far as the snowfall goes with this recent one, primarily central Minnesota. We saw a little bit in the Twin Cities, but the higher totals for sure just to the north. In fact, some of the northern suburbs coming in at a couple of inches of snow around Anoka, Ramsey, Blaine, up towards Princeton, a few inches of snow, but much more snow heading to northwestern and north central Minnesota. In fact, probably will end up over 10 inches for some of these. The totals through the morning, about 9 to 9.5 inches from Lake Itasca through White Earth. And there was still some snow falling in some of those areas, and that continues through Duluth. Pretty vigorous little system here, and the reason they got more snow to the north of us is we just had that first outer band, but the snow continues all the way back into North Dakota across that central part of the state. So snow showers will continue into the afternoon and evening hours along the North Shore, finally wrapping up in Duluth here probably by the late evening after dark. And again, they could see more than a half foot of snow there too when this latest spring storm is done. Behind it, it's going to be colder temporarily, northern Minnesota especially, sub-zero for about the northern third or half of Minnesota. In fact, 10 below maybe around Halleck. Teens for the Twin Cities, not too bad, but that means that everything that's wet and slushy out there is going to refreeze. We'll be up to a near freezing tomorrow, which is a few degrees below average. Teens though in northwestern Minnesota, and very short-lived. Already Friday we're back to normal or above normal temperatures here in the mid to upper 30s. We'll continue to see this little bit of a temperature contrast though in western Minnesota, where it will be several degrees cooler at least, if not in the 20s. And you've probably been hearing a little bit about this, but all week we've been watching this potential for severe weather tomorrow. Moderate risk already for eastern Texas into Arkansas and Louisiana, looking like a dangerous situation potentially Thursday with the setup there. It is severe weather season in the south. And then we are watching another wintry system move in late Sunday to Monday. Looks like rain and snow possible. All sorts of possibilities at this point as far as snowfall goes. Some models pushing it further south, or north rather, some's further south. And the Canadian model not doing a whole lot as far as snowfall this far east with that system. But it is going to be mild. So kind of like today, where in the middle of the day, the roads probably will just be wet and the snow mainly accumulates on some of the grassier, colder surfaces that are not paved and certainly not treated. But all in all, pretty seasonable temperatures here and a quiet stretch of weather for about 3.5 days. I don't think we'll finally see some precipitation. That's been hard to come by recently. And again, temporarily cooler tomorrow before we see things tick back upwards for temperatures into the weekend.